That's not how it ends for you, brother. You know who's coming for you. You've always known.
What's the deal, my people? You know it is Don Tony Teflon, and I'm back at you another Game of Thrones video, breaking down the things you missed, using Easter eggs and hidden clues that explains everything that's gonna happen in Game of Thrones Season 8. And in this video, huge clue, who wins the Game of Thrones. I'm going to explain exactly who's going to kill the mountain and how the mountain will fall. Now, we all know if you want to get to Cersei Lannister, you're going to have to get through her goon, the number one goon of Game of Thrones, and that is the mountain.
Talk to you for a second.
Oh, shit.
And that is a daunting task. You know, Bran, he didn't want no part of the mountain. Let's be real about it. Bran, he knew, he was smart. He didn't want no part of the mountain.
Oh, you want something too, old man? Huh?
No. Because you make one mistake and you end up like Oberyn Martell, pancake-faced. You don't want that. But how is the mountain going to die? Now, I'm going to use a couple of things here, and I'm going to use things from the books, too, to prove exactly how the mountain is going to die. And I think we have to start first and foremost with Qyburn. Now, Qyburn is the guy who saved the mountain's life. He is the one who brought him back from the dead. And if you want to call him a science white, the mountain, then go right ahead. I can get with the science white aspect of it, all right? Now, Qyburn, his whole life, his whole studies is all about trying to fight the dead, like bring people back to life. He does experiments on living people. Kind of sounds like modern day operations, but that's what he does. And he was banned from the Citadel for doing this. Now, I'm sure it's worse than what I'm saying. I'm sure he's doing disgusting things. We know that he's doing disgusting things. But this is why when we see him finally run into a white and you see him look at the hand, he is fascinated by it. But what happens when you're dealing with a Frankenstein type person, who Qyburn is, a Dr. Frankenstein type person, what always happens in the end? And that is that person's creation turns on them. And I think that is exactly how that's going to happen. And that's how Qyburn will meet his end. The mountain will kill Qyburn. But why would the mountain kill Qyburn? Now, in Game of Thrones, we know that every little thing is planned, especially when it comes to the costumes. Every little detail has a meaning. So we know that when we deal with helmets in Game of Thrones, they all have a meaning. Now, we know the primary reason is so that the actor's face can come through when they're talking and that they can give a better performance. So they don't like to cover up the face. But when dealing with the mountain, I do believe it's a little bit different. Now, when we see him in Season 1, we see this mask and it basically covers his whole face. You cannot see his face until he opens his visor. Now, the next time we see him, and this is the worst mountain of them all, in the Lannister garb, we see that his face is wide open. And I hated this mountain, so let's get past him. But then, when Qyburn brings him back, we see in this armor there is an emphasis on the eye slots. And then, in his final armor, there is definitely, without a doubt, an overemphasis on his eye slots. So why is that? Now, I told you before that Qyburn, when you mess with dabbling in the dark arts, eventually you're going to run into someone who's better at this game than you. And I think that's what's going to happen. You will see the mountain's eyes turn blue, and he will turn on Qyburn, and that is how Qyburn will meet his end. Now that the Night's King has his hands on the most unstoppable human being there is on the planet, how is he going to be stopped? How is the mountain going to meet his end? And I think we could find the answer to that in the books. Bran's first vision, the first one, A Game of Thrones, Bran 3. And it goes like this. One shadow was as dark as ash, with the terrible face of a hound. Another was armored like the sun, golden and beautiful. Over them both loomed a giant in armor made of stone. But when he opened his visor, there was nothing inside but darkness and thick black blood. So in this vision, I think we clearly can see the people who are going to take down the mountain. Now, the first shadow was dark as ash with a terrible face of a hound. We know that that is the hound. He was burnt by fire. That's why he is dark as ash. The next one, golden as the sun and beautiful, that is Jaime Lannister. And over them, a giant in armor made of stone. Stone is rocks. That's a mountain. And the darkness of black blood in his visor. When Qyburn does his experiments in the books, it's referred to his blood, the mountain, as thick black blood. So that is definitely the mountain. And I think those are the people who will fight the mountain. It will be Jaime Lannister and the Hound. But how will they take out the mountain? Now, as I said before, Qyburn is always going to be tied to the mountain. And when you are a mad scientist, what happens is that your weapons are used against you. And I think what's going to happen is that the ballistas that Qyburn made to kill the dragons will be shot by Jaime Lannister, and he will kill the mountain with that shot. And that's how the mountain will fall. So you tell me in the comment section, do you think that the mountain will be taken out by a dragon tip harpoon right in the chest by either Jaime Lannister or maybe even the Hound will be the one to pull the trigger? But I know they will definitely both be involved. You let me know in the comment section how you feel. And if you like the way I do this, please thumbs us up, please spread this across the realm, and please subscribe. And until next time, you know who it is. Peace! And stay sexy.